President Trump has deployed the National Guard and then the U.S. Marines to Los Angeles over the objections of state and local officials, saying that the troops are needed to support immigration detention operations that are being carried out by ICE. On Sunday night, the president threatened to deploy ICE agents to other cities around the country that he sees as, quote, the core of the Democrat power center, end quote, specifically mentioning Chicago and New York. Secretary Hegseth, if the president wanted to deploy Marines to Chicago and New York City like he did in Los Angeles, would you carry out that order even if the local governors and mayors objected?
Señores, ¿se imaginan un día despertar en una mañana, asomarte a la ventana y ver a soldados, por ejemplo, en Nueva York, en tu barrio? Tanques en el Times Square. Patrullas militares en Chicago. Pareciera ficción, ¿no? Pues al parecer no tanto. Hoy, señores, vamos a hablar de algo que suena a una locura, pero que estuvo muy cerca de hacerse una realidad. Hoy voy a contarles y voy a mostrarles cómo y por qué el secretario de Defensa Pete Hegseth no puso límites claros a una orden potencialmente peligrosa de Donald Trump: enviar tropas federales a ciudades gobernadas por demócratas, sin importar la opinión de las autoridades locales, tal y como vimos en Los Ángeles con el gobernador Gavin Newsom. Si esto, amigos, no es solo inusual, esto es francamente inconstitucional. Veamos a la senadora Elizabeth Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So President Trump has deployed the National Guard and then the U.S. Marines to Los Angeles over the objections of state and local officials, saying that the troops are needed to support immigration detention operations that are being carried out by ICE. On Sunday night, the president threatened to deploy ICE agents to other cities around the country that he sees as, quote, the core of the Democrat power center, end quote, specifically mentioning Chicago and New York. Secretary Hegseth, if the president wanted to deploy Marines to Chicago and New York City like he did in Los Angeles, would you carry out that order even if the local governors and mayors objected?
Well, Senator, because Governor Newsom was unwilling to address
That's not my
protecting
question.
federal law enforcement agents in Los Angeles, President Trump had all the authorities, and the Defense Department happily supported defending our ICE agents in the conduct of their job. They have the right, as Americans, to be able to do their job without being attacked by mobs. And we will protect them in that process. And if other states needed it, we would provide that.
I know that you heard my question. So you would be willing to send troops if the president ordered it to Chicago, New York City? That's right.
Well, thankfully, New York City, unlike California, unlike Gavin Newsom, is willing to step up and address the issue with their local law enforcement.
I will take that as a yes. How about if the president says he wants to send troops to 15 cities? Would you be willing to do that?
Senator, I don't accept your hypothetical because
That's a hypothetical.
Not a real
That's
one.
the question. You're the Secretary of Defense. Would you send troops to 15 cities if the president said do it? Would you do it? 15 cities.
Again, Senator, it's a complete hypothetical lacking any context
Look,
at all.
You're the Secretary
and I refuse
of
to box
Defense.
myself in based on questioning on a hypothetical.
But you're here asking for $1 trillion, and I want to know how you're going to spend it. And so my question is, if Donald Trump tells you to send troops to 15 American cities, are you going to spend the money and send the troops?
Thankfully, we're spending money on securing our southern border, a way the previous administration abandoned and allowed 21 million illegals to enter our country. So defending our homeland is a real serious priority under this administration, and we're doing it.
I understand the question about defense. Secretary Hegseth, about 4,000 National Guard troops and 700 Marines have been sent to L.A. Is there a number of troops deployed to American cities over the objections of governors and mayors at which you would be concerned that we are undermining our national defense?
Senator, we've spent 2 decades guarding other people's borders. We think at the Defense Department it's about time we shore up ours.
So that's my question. Is there a number at which sending those troops to Los Angeles or Chicago or New York starts to undermine our ability to defend ourselves around the globe? Is there a number?
Senator, we look at capabilities and readiness around the globe all the time, and we're quite satisfied with our capabilities to defend the homeland, and we'll provide more if and when it's necessary.
So you are satisfied with our capabilities. Let me just ask, have you actually done the analysis and figured out how many troops you can deploy domestically before you start to undermine readiness around the world? Have you done that analysis?
Yes, ma'am.
Then would you let the rest of us in on it? We are the Senate Armed Services Committee, and you're here to ask for $1 trillion. What's the number?
We've got contingencies and plans for any number of capabilities should governors be unable, as Gavin Newsom has been,
So can you
to
give
actually
us a
secure his
ballpark
own
on
federal
what that
agents
number
in their
is?
cities.
How many troops can you deploy domestically before you start to cut into our readiness internationally?
As I said, previous administrations deployed our National Guard all around the globe in numbers
I have a
far
number,
beyond
but
what we
you're
were capable
just
of
not
supporting.
gonna tell
So
us.
limited
So let me ask
contingencies
you
inside the
one
United
more
States to
question.
protect federal law
If
enforcement
the
is
Supreme Court orders
doable.
you to remove troops from American city streets, will you do so?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. If the Supreme Court orders you to remove troops from American cities, will you do so?
As I've said, Senator, I don't believe district courts should determine national security policy, but if the
That was
Supreme
not my
Court rules
question.
on a topic, we will abide by that.
Okay. You know, during her press conference last week, Secretary Noem said, "We are staying here to liberate the city from its mayor and its governor, people who were elected by a majority of voters." Secretary Hegseth is saying he is ready to deploy more troops and won't tell us what the implications are for our national defense. This is un-American and it makes us unsafe. I wish our Republican colleagues would speak up.
Ok, amigos, muy interesante, ¿no? Cómo es que la senadora Elizabeth Warren le pregunta directamente a Pete Hegseth si es que estaría dispuesto a enviar marines a ciudades como Nueva York o como Chicago, si es que Trump se lo ordenaría. Prácticamente la respuesta de Hegseth fue afirmativa, ¿no? O al menos no dijo no. Lo peor no solo es eso, sino es que se negó a dar un número límite. ¿Cuántos soldados pueden enviarse dentro del país antes de afectar a la defensa global? Ese detalle, amigos, me preocupa por varias razones. Primero, estamos hablando de usar el ejército en contra de ciudadanos estadounidenses, en ciudades donde las autoridades locales no lo aprueban. Desde ahí, va completamente en contra del espíritu de la relación civil-militar en Estados Unidos. El ejército no está para reprimir ni para controlar a la población civil. Su misión es una: defender las fronteras externas, no convertirse en una fuerza policíaca, ¿no? interna. Segundo, esta simple idea de enviar tropas a ciudades, entre comillas, demócratas, ya vemos un fuerte tinte político. No es casualidad que Donald Trump haya mencionado específicamente, ¿no?, el tema de Nueva York, Chicago. Hablamos de dos grandes centros urbanos con gobiernos progresistas. O sea, esta ya no es una política de seguridad nacional, amigos. Es una forma de presionar políticamente a tus opositores, tal y como lo hizo con Gavin Newsom. Tercero, aquí ya vemos un riesgo, amigos, un riesgo real de lo que es una erosión institucional. Si es que el Pentágono te acepta este tipo de órdenes sin cuestionarlas, ya estamos normalizando una práctica que otros países lo llaman golpe blando, que es el uso del ejército para imponerte agendas políticas.
You are blowing through money like my fellow cadets and I did in our first Liberty after basic camp. Luckily, I didn't end up with a questionable tattoo. Your failures, Mr. Secretary, since you've taken office has been staggering. You sent classified operational information over Signal to chest thump in front of your wife, who, by the way, has no security clearance, risking service member lives in the process. You blew the $1 billion fight against the Houthis, whom, again, as my colleague says, has no Navy, and yet you lost all of those aircraft. You've created such a hostile command environment that no one wants to serve as your chief of staff or work with you in other senior DoD leadership roles. But what we should all be talking about, more than all of this, is that you have an unjustified, un-American misuse of the military in American cities, pulling resources and attention away from core missions to the detriment of the country, the war fighters, and yes, the war fighting that you claim to love. I don't know if this is because you are too inexperienced and incompetent to understand the real threats facing our country, or if it's because you are just an unqualified yes man who can't tell the president how to keep Americans safe. You are focusing on renaming basis for Confederate generals. You said just now to Senator King that to a man and to a woman, we would rather be associated with the old Confederate names. Well, I am one of those women. I served at Fort Rucker, Alabama, a base that was named for a traitor who took arms against the United States of America, led troops who killed Americans. It was renamed for Mike Novosel, a Medal of Honor recipient, who in his citation for the Medal of Honor includes that he saved 29 American lives, to include hovering backwards in a helicopter towards an enemy bunker where a wounded American was laying and saved that person, including after being taken fire himself. I know a little something about what it takes to fly a helicopter when you've been hit by enemy fire. That was heroic. I'd rather be associated with Mike Novosel than a failed Confederate traitor.
Sé que algunos podrían argumentar que el presidente no tiene toda la autoridad constitucional como para movilizarte fuerzas en situaciones de emergencia, ¿no? Técnicamente tienen razón, ¿no? Porque hay leyes como la de insurrección, el acto de insurrección, que te permiten eso, ¿no? Pero el problema, señores, es el contexto. Porque usarte la facultad para castigar a ciudades solo por ideología política ya no solo abusa de poder. Eso socava totalmente la confianza del pueblo en las instituciones. Y lo más grave, ¿no? Si el secretario de Defensa no pone los límites claros, ¿quién lo hará? Amigos, no es una conversación incómoda entre una senadora y un funcionario, ¿no? Es una alerta sobre hasta dónde podría llegar la politización del ejército si es que no se pone un freno hoy por hoy. Donald Trump ya usó a los militares en protestas. Ahora podría extenderlo fácilmente a operaciones migratorias. Pete Hegseth, en lugar de frenarlo, está más que dispuesto a seguir órdenes sin importar, pues, quién gobierne cada estado. Yo digo, no, esto no solo es mal visto, es antiamericano, ¿no? Como lo señaló Elizabeth Warren. Más que todo es peligroso cuando hablamos de democracia. Pero bueno, amigos, ¿qué piensan ustedes? ¿Creen que el presidente debería tener todo este poder sin límites? ¿O ustedes creen que hace falta un contrapeso que esté claro, ¿no? Dentro del gobierno, para poder evitar estos abusos? Los invito a que me dejen sus opiniones en la caja de comentarios. Muchísimas gracias por acompañarme hasta el final de este video. Recuerda, como siempre, dale like, compártelo con tus amigos y suscríbete a nuestro canal. Nos vemos en el próximo video. Hasta luego.